This is a special edition of Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And on a special edition of the Nevada Newsmakers, Ray Hagar and I are going to talk with Jim Rogers. He's the Chancellor of the University System, and he also may plan to run for governor. We'll talk to him right after this timeout.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
High-tech companies demand perfect world amenities. They require clean, reliable power, state-of-the-art fiber optic communications, and clean water sources. In a perfect world, companies would have immediate access to rail and interstate freeways. There would be 4-lane expressways that shorten shipping times and provide convenient commute routes for valued employees. Well, the future is now, and it's here. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
When making your decision as where to play golf, consider the resort at Red Hawk. You know you have made the right choice the moment you arrive. The friendly staff welcomes you to our award-winning pro shop. You know you've made the right decision on the first tee. The Lakes course is in the best condition in years. You know you've made the right choice after you've played 18 holes. The resort at Red Hawk, the right choice.
Nevada Newsmakers is sponsored in part by the Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
You bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we are joined by Jim Rogers, who is the Chancellor of the University System here in the state of Nevada. He is also the owner of Sunbelt Broadcasting, upon which these programs run here on Nevada Newsmakers, and possible candidate for governor. Jim, welcome to the program, as always. You recently proposed paying the superintendent of the Clark County School District $600,000 per year. In today's Review Journal editorial, they suggested cynically that you proposed that huge number to give the school board cover to raise the salary 37% to $290,000, which sounds like a lot more reasonable amount when you compare it to $600,000. How do you respond to that?
Well, I'm not that clever, nor did I talk with any member of the school board before I made that suggestion. But let's get it accurate, all right? What I said is this. I thought the job was a $400,000 to $600,000 a year job. Now, the Journal and everybody else, including you and I think all of the papers throughout the state, have grabbed onto the $600,000 figure and said that's what he suggests. So what I talked about was a range. But I also said this, that if, in fact, the school district only felt comfortable with paying $300,000 or $350,000, and some superstar came along and it was going to take the $400,000 or $450,000, and let's do it by simple math. Let's say $300,000 from the school district and $500,000 for the individual, that I would go out and try to raise, and I thought I could, the $200,000 a year difference going forward. Because I wanted Joe Superstar or Jane Superstar to come in here and run this place. Now, let me go a little further. There's nothing new about this. I think there's a county down in Florida where, with all of the extras and so forth, they're paying the superintendent $500,000 or $550,000 a year. Let me also talk about supplementing pay of public officials. Carol Harder makes a base salary of $230,000 a year. The foundation supplements, the UNLV Foundation supplements her pay by $90,000 a year. And in that agreement, there is a $250,000 bonus if the capital campaign, which is about to start at UNLV, turns out to be successful. Now let's go up to UNR. John Lilly makes $227,000 a year. The foundation, the UNR Foundation, supplements his pay by $90,000 a year. So there's nothing new about this. The foundation is not going to control John Lilly at UNR, nor is the foundation at UNLV going to control Carol Harder. I mean, that's part and parcel of what goes on across the country. So, you know, they brand me as the guy who's wanting to take over everything. I told them, I don't want anything to say, nor will I say anything about the particular individual that they choose for the superintendent of schools. I'm not going to give their advice on that, and I don't expect them to ask me for that. But what I do agree to do is this. Once they've picked that person, if that person will not come to work for their $300,000, then we need to figure out a way to supplement the pay. And I've also said this. I think that the superintendent of schools in Clark County is the most difficult job in the United States, exclusive of George Bush's. I think it's far more difficult than the presidency of UNR or UNLV, because at UNR and UNLV you have the ability to restrict the amount of growth of both universities. You have a pick of who comes into the university. You have a pick of the faculty. You have a pick of all of that thing. You have tremendous control. With the Clark County School District, you have a system that is opening up a new school, I'm told, every 30 days.
Okay, can I, may I just interrupt you for just a second?
Sure.
And I appreciate everything you said so far. But here's my concern, is that when you give people these giant raises, and we're talking about around, even this one is 37%, don't you suddenly have to accommodate all the people below that?
Of course not. That's ridiculous. But that's what we've seen in the past, though, haven't we? No, I don't know whether that's done. But let me say this. Look at this. Go through the financials of all of the hotels on the Strip, every one of them, and see the difference in the pay of the CEO and the people that are below that person. It is multiples. All right? Let me talk about the vice chairman of General Electric at the moment. Wait a second. Wait.
You know, we're talking about the school district, public funds.
No, we're talking about, wait a second, let me finish, Sam.
Sure.
What we're talking about is this. A job that, as far as I'm concerned, is more difficult. It is more difficult to run the Clark County School District than it is to run the Mandalay Bay or the MGM Hotel. Now, they may take they may take exception to what I'm saying, but I'm telling you this. If you are going to have a superstar come in to operate something, it doesn't make any difference whether it's a school district or a hotel or General Electric or anything else. These people are not going to come and say, you know, I could get a job in private industry at $3 million a year, but because I love education, I'm willing to come in here for $300,000 a year. That makes no sense. And I don't understand why you don't understand that distinction.
I do understand.
It has nothing, wait a second, well, let me finish.
Sure.
It has nothing to do with the fact that it's a school district. What it has to do with is a person who possibly, I don't know this for sure, but who possibly could come in and say, look, if I make these following changes, I will save the system $25 million a year. Now, what are we going to do with the $25 million? Well, let's take that $25 million and let's push it where it ought to be pushed. Not into layer after layer after layer of management, but down into the classrooms, because that is our product, or that is their product. So it should be that $25 million will go to enhance the salaries of teachers. Now, that's the distinction that I'm trying to draw.
Well, I'm sure the teachers are happy to hear that, because with the 2% raise in the next over the next biennium, they can't be real happy with hearing the kind of numbers that have been bandied about. Let's take a break. We'll change topics. More with Jim Rogers, the Never Shy, right here on Nevada Newsmakers after this timeout.
Take a copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program. Call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community.
But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
If it's fun, it's here at the Pepper Mill, the $100,000 video-themed slot celebration, with more winners each week, 100 random winners every Monday and Wednesday, and more cash prizes, $6,000 random drawings every Friday, plus chances to win up to $1,000 in free slot play on Mr. Money's Challenge. You'll have more fun with the Pepper Mill's video-themed slot celebration, now worth over $100,000.
The slots that rock are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you winning?
Many of the materials we rely on every day come from the ground, and modern mining technology brings them to us cleaner and safer than ever before. To learn more about America's natural resources, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're talking with Jim Rogers, who's the Chancellor of the University System, owner of Sunbelt Broadcasting, and possible candidate for governor.
Jim, you were recently quoted as saying that Congressman Jim Gibbons, the front-runner for governor, was not very bright nor had great leadership qualities. Now, do you stand by that remark? Do you wish you'd never said it? And do you plan on apologizing?
Well, you got three questions there. First of all, it seems to me that we ought to move on. I get asked that 5 times a week. I told somebody the other day, if I said it, I meant it. I don't intend to apologize for it. But at the same time, let's get on with business and get off this rather minor incident, as I view it.
Well, I don't know that it's so minor as it's been a huge topic of conversation around the state. There was a letter to the editor in the Reno Gazette Journal from Jim Gold Sr., who said, in response to your remarks, how many friends of yours hold a degree from a university, graduated from a law school, completed postgraduate at USC, flew combat missions as a pilot in Vietnam and Persian Gulf Wars, held the rank of vice commander, and also worked as a commercial pilot for Western and Delta Airlines, is a hydrologist and a geologist, a water rights attorney, and a United States representative. I mean, it sounds to me like he is at least bright, sir.
Well, we can sit and argue about that all day, Sam. And I understand the writer's opinion, and I understand all of the facts that he set forth. But that's what makes a horse race. I have a different opinion. But I'm not going to go into that over and over and over again. I'm simply not. That person has the factual background upon which they base their conclusion. I have a conclusion that I've reached. Now let's get on with it.
Okay, Jim, as a generous philanthropist, if you run for governor, how much of your own money will you be willing to spend?
Well, let me give you some background on all of this, all right? I have never, ever, nor do I to this present moment, have any, or have I ever had any political ambition. Let me tell you how all of this came about. And I have to tell you, I was very surprised, because I'm a very controversial person. Even though I think I can get along with pretty much anybody, I do polarize people. And it was during the legislative session that suggestions started to be made to me that, Jim, you ought to run for governor. And I said, well, that's a very flattering comment. I appreciate that. I have no real interest in that. And then the reasons started to pile on as to why I should do that. And people said to me, if we were to support you, would you consider running? I said, of course I would consider it. Now, that's as far as that has gone. I don't have a committee. I don't have anybody who has talked with me about it. Really,
but you've
other than the guy on the street. Wait, let me finish. Let me finish my answer. You ask the question, I get to answer it. Other than the people that I see on the street who say, Jim, you ought to run for candidacy. Now, Let's talk about my registering as an independent. I didn't tell one person I was going to do that. I didn't go out and solicit the people who had suggested that I run for governor and say, look, I've had a belly full of this political crap that goes on between the Republicans and the Democrats, where I'm supposed to be judged not by whether I'm competent, but by whom I give money to. You know, last week there was an article in the paper down here that said Jim Gibson, I think it was, had given $100 and $200 to a couple of Republicans. Now, what in the world does that have to do with him being qualified to be governor of the state? Nothing. Nothing. So I said to myself, I'm not going to get involved in this political crap. I'm simply not going to.
Jim,
now,
Jim excuse me. I've got to
wait.
We're running out of satellite window here, sir. Let me say this.
Yeah.
And we appreciate your frankness on this program. And I think you've answered the Review Journal's question about whether television stations that you own would have the ability to cover you in a governor's race by appearing on this program today in this manner, and we welcome you back anytime. Thank you so much for being here.
Glad to be here.
Thanks, Jim. Good luck to you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
For more than a decade, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been helping the community embrace conservation as a way of life. That includes replacing more than 50 million square feet of grass with water-smart landscaping. During the worst drought on record, watering restrictions and tough landscaping codes have reduced the community's water use by billions of gallons, even as thousands of new residents were moving into Nevada. That's smart water management, and that's our promise to Nevada.
When making your decision as where to play golf, consider the resort at Red Hawk. You know you have made the right choice the moment you arrive. The friendly staff welcomes you to our award-winning pro shop. You know you've made the right decision on the first tee. The Lakes course is in the best condition in years. You know you've made the right choice after you've played 18 holes. The resort at Red Hawk, the right choice.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
Oh, you bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, the pundit panel is raring to go here. Pat Howard is here with Carrera, Nevada. We have Connie McMullen, who's a publisher of the Senior Spectrum newspaper that is in both Las Vegas and in Reno. And Wayne Frediani, Executive Director of the Nevada Franchised Auto Dealers Association. Okay, Mr. Coward, to you, your thoughts on our previous interview here.
He's a very outspoken individual. I think his thoughts I think he made a mistake in a way, as we talked about earlier, changing his party affiliation to independent. And I think that will have some impact as far as electability. Demographics, whether you're a Republican, independent, or a Democrat, will play a role in the outcome.
What about his electability anyways? He seems kind of abrasive and above it all. Connie, what do you...
You know, I think the press would have a field day with this man. You know, he can say, and Sam, you didn't even have to ask much. Just let him keep talking. He'll hang himself.
Wayne?
I think, you know, at some point he's got to start talking about his leadership abilities and not the other candidates. And I think right now this race is so wide open with so many people in the field. I think a lot of things will shake out over the next 4 to 5 months. But again, at some point he's going to have to stand up and say what he's for. and what his leadership abilities are and what he looks at the state down the road to be, instead of maybe criticizing all the other people that are in the field.
Wayne, I agree with you. I think we need to have a discussion in the state about what we want to be in the future in the next 10, 20, 30 years from now, because we're not doing that. We're talking more about what we're going to restrict and what we're going to cap, but we have obvious needs that we're going to have. I think that Jim Rogers has done an extraordinary job as Chancellor, and he said in his first interviews after the governor asked him to run that his concern was that if Jim Gibbons was going to be elected governor, that there might be a problem for higher education. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that certainly was his reasoning.
Well, you know, his point about paying the Clark County school superintendent more than $290,000, that's plausible because Clark County is the 5th largest district in the U.S., but right now the top 8 districts in the United States are all looking for superintendents. And if you lowball that salary, the good people are going to go to the other districts.
Well, doesn't the idea of Tom Mitchell's the other day of breaking the district into 4 and having those districts compete with each other for the best and the brightest? Doesn't that idea seem to make sense?
Yeah, I've always thought that.
It does, but it hasn't seemed to gain any legs at the legislature.
No, I think the whole thing there is on the pay issue, on breaking it up, is the accountability issue. I don't think anyone has a problem paying high salary if you get something for that.
Right.
They have
the idea of Dr. Harder getting a bonus, a very large bonus, for bringing in that capital program, that makes sense to me because in a lot of ways university presidents are salespeople. They're fundraisers.
Well, let's talk about higher salaries. Why don't you give them to the teachers? Because the problem in Clark County is they have a massive turnover of teachers. They go to Las Vegas. It's too expensive to live. They're out of there.
That's the union issue, I think. I think you got to talk to the teachers union about that because they set the entrance, I think. They set the entrance and the progressive salary. But you're right. When you're opening a school a month, that's what I've heard down there, the requirement for teachers is got to be gigantic. And you got to pay to get the quality in there.
And a 2% and 2%, you know, when you're now looking at a 37% increase for the superintendent, doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense.
Well, the pay is an issue, I agree, but at the same time, I think what Connie says is it right on. Is the pay going to make accountability? Is the pay going to increase the graduation rate of high school students? Is the pay going to make a difference in college enrollment? I'm not sure that the pay is going to be the only answer.
You have to pay to get the right person in the job. You know, you get what you pay for, and it's so obvious. And
I don't know. You know something? I don't think it's just about money. I think that when you're looking for an individual, you need somebody who has passion, who comes in, who has great ideas, a track record.
Experience too, Sam.
Well, I'm not disagreeing, but I'm just saying that money should not be the only criteria. Because that certainly isn't the case in private industry, where you have people coming up through the ranks. I mean, look at Paul Dugan.
And I'm not sure
in Washoe County, the superintendent is doing a great job, as far as I can tell.
Right, but when you're talking about teacher pay, you're talking the low end. People can hardly afford, they can't afford a home in Las Vegas if they're on a teacher's salary, even if you combine 2 teachers together. The pay thing, I think, is very important because at the classroom level you have a lot of accountability. Those teachers, those kids have to succeed. I think you lose accountability as you go up the ladder, and I think that's a reason why you really need to break up that Clark County school district.
Well, that seems to be a universal problem, though. That's just not Clark County. That's even up here in Washington County.
No, but Clark County, it's worse in Clark County. A third of the students in Clark County.
Growing.
Well, yes, and the third of the students do not speak English. How are they going to? How are they going to meet these No Child Left Behind borders or boundaries if they don't speak English? And it's this NCLB is just killing Clark County, which their scores brings the entire state down.
Okay, I want to change topics, if I may. The space shuttle safely landed this morning. And we're all thrilled about that, but the space shuttle is grounded probably for the next couple of years at least as they try to figure out what the problems are. The thing that has occurred to me over the last several days is that it's almost been like NASCAR, where we're waiting for an accident to happen. Do people not realize that ever since the beginning of the space program, it has been inherently dangerous to go atop a Saturn rocket in the old days or into the space shuttle, and that these astronauts know that risk but choose to take it anyway? Pat?
I think the astronauts fully understand the risk involved in there. I think probably the public doesn't, and the media and the hype and everything else about that when they had an accident that stopped the whole program. And I think it's more a marketing thing. I think trying to get people on board and behind it.
Well, there's been so much success. People have gotten complacent. They sort of expect it.
That's
it's like getting up in the airplane every day. They take off and they fly. What's the percentages of them coming down and crashing? We just expect good performance. And sometimes we forget about the inherent risk.
Yeah. Well, the technology of the space shuttle, I think, has probably seen its better day, and we need better vehicles to launch us out of our atmosphere.
And I think that's where the debate's coming in, too. Should they have more before the next iteration of spacecraft comes on board?
I think people, too, I mean, some citizenry, I don't know what percentage, are probably questioning, whether this should continue to go forward like it is as far in terms of dollars.
I think if we want to inspire engineers, mathematicians, scientists, the space program is a very good thing. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
Here at the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, water resources come from fresh, clean groundwater, approved by state permits. The water is pumped from wells to million-gallon storage tanks and then distributed to TRI companies. Another amenity is our investment in a state-of-the-art wastewater treatment plant. This disposal system converts waste to clean water for industrial applications. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevada.
South Reno's hotspot for food, fun, and friends is the Tamarack Junction. Enjoy great food 24 hours a day in the Dining Car Restaurant. For a quick bite and the best sandwiches in town, it's the Whistle Stop Deli. And for the best appetizers and menu selections and a large variety of cocktails, beers, and martinis, it's Sully's Sports Bar, Grill, and Nightclub. The Tamarack Junction is your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community.
But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org. The National Mining Association.
Don't forget, you can watch Nevada Newsmakers online at nevadanewsmakers.com.
Tomorrow we're going around the world with Ty Cobb, a former Reagan advisor.
We'll see you then.
Thank you.